Sonnet by Edward Dowden. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part I. I have wept tears, and learnt, I fear, sad ways of searching for a smile, and I can guess the secret of a wan mouth's droopingness, and know which eyes are they that waste their gaze on the hid grave of hope. Yet ne'er the less my heart leaps up to utter thanks and bless our earth which bears sweet flowers, and the glad face of these unwearied waters. Thanks to them for brief, intense, bright moments when we see our life stand clear in joy. We kiss the hem of God's robe in a rapture, and are whole on wind-swept hilltops by the mystery of ocean on still morns, or when the soul springs to the lark in a fine ecstasy. End of Sonnet.
Four Ducks on a Pond by William Allingham. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part I. Four ducks on a pond, a grass bank beyond, a blue sky of spring, white clouds on the wing. What a little thing to remember for years, to remember with tears! End of Four Ducks on a Pond.
Flakes by Standish O'Grady. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part I. Gotten in the strife of waters, twinkling little stars of foam, restless, beautiful white daughters of a father made to roam, under sun and under moon, under many a cloudy sky, to a low monotonous tune, ye go glancing, dancing by, fleeting shapes of rarest beauty, poetry and life and joy. I would err in manhood's duty if I passed you like a boy. I will lie down here and weave a web of similes to you in the long rye grass, and cleave a little lane to see you through, shooting, quivering, restless flamelets on a restless heart you seem, fairy tenanted white hamlets, rocked of earthquakes on the stream, whitest clouds of bluest ether, pressed in aeons' hands as snow, thrown in multitudes together on the streams of earth below, forms as undefined as faces seen in dreamland, ghosts of white, flowers that grew in heavenly places, fed on heavenly air and light. I would cast my lot with you, in your bundle would be bound, shining maidens, bid adieu to this barren, steady ground, dance with you amid the ridges and the madness of the stream, sleep and kiss you where the midges on the silent water gleam. End of Flakes. From Shannon to Sea by E.G.A. Holmes. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part I. The Shannon bore me to thy bosom wide, I wandered with it on its winding way, by fields of yellow corn and new mown hay, and far blue hills that rose on either side, and low dark woods that fringed the ebbing tide. And ever, as its waters neared the west, out the slumber of its broadening breast, faint momentary ripples rose and died, and rose again before the breeze, and grew to wavelets dancing in the noonday light, and these were changed to waves of ocean blue, and creek and headland faded from the sight, and oh, at last I floated free on the long rollers of the open sea. End of From Shannon to Sea. Eternal Vigil by E.G.A. Holmes. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part I. Oh, once again upon thy heaving breast I floated, like a sea bird when it braves the shoreward onset of thy flowing waves, and leaps triumphant on each rushing crest. Round me in dark, magnificent unrest. The billows of the wild Atlantic rolled far, far away into the gates of gold, the sunlit portals of the stormy west. Oh, never wearied, in the hush of noon, thy billows break the paths of golden sleep, they break the dream and lustre of the moon. Earth knows the hours of darkness, thou dost keep eternal vigil, still thy surges white flash through the deepest gloom of starless night. End of Eternal Vigil. Birds by Moira O'Neill. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part 1. Sure, maybe ye've heard the storm thrush whistling bold in March, before there's a primrose peeping out, or a wee red comb on the larch whistling the sun to come out o' the clouds, and the wind to come over the sea. But for all he can whistle so clear and loud, he's never the bird for me. Sure, maybe ye've seen the song thrush, after an April rain, slip from in under the drippin' leaves, wishful to sing again, and low wi' love when he's near the nest, and loud from the top o' the tree. But for all he can flutter the heart in your breast, he's never the bird for me. Sure, maybe ye've heard the cushadoo callin' his mate in May, when one sweet thought is the whole of his life, and he tells it the one sweet way. But my heart is sore at the cushadoo, filled with his own soft glee, over and over his me and you. He's never the bird for me. Sure, maybe ye've heard the redbreast singin' his lone on a thorn, mindin' himself o' the dear days lost, brave wid his heart forlorn. The time is in dark November, and no spring hopes has he. Remember he sings, remember, aye thon's the wee bird for me. End of Birds. Sheeps and Lambs by Katharine, Tynan, Hinkson. From the Book of Irish Poetry, Part 1. All in the April morning, April airs were abroad. Sheep with their little lambs passed me by on the road. The sheep with their little lambs passed me by on the road. All in the April evening I thought on the Lamb of God. The lambs were weary and crying with a weak human cry. I thought on the Lamb of God, going meekly to die. Up in the blue, blue mountains, dewy pastures are sweet. Rest for the little bodies, rest for the little feet, rest for the Lamb of God. Up on the hilltop green, only a cross of shame, two stark crosses between. All in the April evening, April airs were abroad. I saw the sheep with their lambs, and thought on the Lamb of God. End of Sheeps and Lambs.